Everyone in the family knew Oupa Hendrick was a cheapskate. No, scratch that. He was a financial minimalist bordering on a psychopath. He drove a beat-up Nissan 1400 bakkie for 30 years. He washed and reused plastic sandwich bags. If you visited his Karoo home in June, you didn't get a heater. You got a lecture on the Eskom tariff hikes and a scratchy wool blanket. So when the old man finally passed away, leaving behind a modest suburban house, his granddaughter Clara expected to clean out a dusty hoard. Instead, she found a masterclass in obsession, a physical, leather-bound ledger charting 50 unbroken years of Hendrick's life. Every single cent. Bread, 1 Rand 50 in 1978. Petrol, 15 Rand in 1982. To Clara, a modern South African drowning in debit orders, inflation and subscription creep, it was a museum of discipline. Until she noticed the anomaly, a recurring expense that made absolutely no sense. Every single month, on the 14th, 275 Rand, labelled simply the tax. Now today, 275 Rand is a couple of takeaways or a cheap streaming package. But Hendrick started paying this in October 1974. Sitting in the quiet of his empty study, Clara stared at that number. Suddenly, a memory flashed. She was 9 years old, begging her grandfather for a trendy toy. He had sat her down, tapped his knuckles on this exact desk, and whispered, "Clara, a leek is a quiet thief. A single rand left to grow is a seed. But a single rand lost every month is a forest you will never get to walk in." He was teaching her compound interest. But looking at the ledger now, Clara realized Oupa Hendrick was a hypocrite. She pulled out a laptop and opened a financial calculator to do the math. In 1974, 275 rands wasn't pocket change. The average monthly salary in South Africa was around 350 rands. Paying 275 rand a month back then was like sacrificing nearly 80% of an entire month's income. And even as the rand lost its value over the next 50 years, Hendrick never adjusted the payment. He paid exactly 275 rands every single month. Clara ran the numbers. If Hendrick had taken that 275 rand every month and instead of paying the tax, invested it in a basic balance fund compounding at a conservative 10%, how much would he have left her? 4.8 million rand. Her breath hitched. Her notoriously cheap grandfather, the man who walked on worn-through shoes to save a buck, had willingly let a 5 million rand fortune slip through his fingers. This wasn't a mistake. This was a leak he actively tolerated. Why? Clara cross-referenced the dates. October 1974 wasn't just the month the tax started. It was the exact month Hendrick's twin brother, Albert, vanished without a trace. Tucked inside the back cover of the ledger, she found a small brass key and a slip of paper with a safety deposit box number for a bank in Pretoria. The next morning, Clara was standing inside a cold underground bank vault. The teller slid out a metallic box. Clara's hands shook as she turned the key. Inside there was no gold, just a faded manila envelope. Inside that envelope was a yellowed newspaper clipping from October 12, 1974, detailing a fatal hit-and-run accident involving a prominent businessman. And next to it, a series of typed letters demanding Hendrick pay his share of silence money to keep his brother Albert out of prison. Albert hadn't vanished. Hendrick had funded his escape from the country. The 275 rand wasn't a budget leak of carelessness. It was a line item of survival. Every single cent Hendrick pinched Every cold winter night, every kilometre driven in that rusty bakkie was done to ensure he could pay the blackmailer without failing his brother. He had traded his comfort and nearly 5 million rand of future legacy to buy his twins' freedom. But at the bottom of the box lay a second, smaller envelope, addressed to Clara. She tore it open. "My dearest Clara, if you are reading this, you found the ledger, and you did the math. You always were the sharp one. You're wondering why I let 275 rand a month rob us of a fortune. My brother's secret was a debt I had to pay, but I never forgot the lesson of the seed in the forest. I couldn't invest the 275 rand, but every time I patched my shoes, turned off the geyser, or chose the cold, I took the money I saved from those sacrifices and I put it into a trust for you." Beneath the letter lay a modern trust certificate. The balance, 2,500,000 rand. Oupa Hendrick didn't let the leak win. He budgeted for the crisis, made the hard sacrifices, and still built a forest from the remaining seeds. Most of us aren't paying off blackmailers, but almost every South African is paying some form of the tax. An old insurance policy overcharging you, streaming services you don't watch, high bank fees, or the ultimate tax. Not having a financial plan. If you don't audit your ledger, those silent leaks will quietly steal your future for